Mangoes come in all shapes and sizes. This one is very different from this one, which are both different than these. Some of them barely weigh a half pound when they're mature. While these guys here, they grow to over 5 pounds. This one here, it's a wild mango. It just grew wild from seed. And when we come upon a wild mango that tastes really good, we cultivate it and domesticate it and replicate it. Like these beauties right here. I've read there are over 1,000 varieties of mango. And today I'm going to introduce you to 8 varieties. This knowledge is valuable to you because during mango season, you're going to try some mangoes that you like, and maybe you'll try some that you don't like. And it's important to know the type you're eating so that you could make a note for next year so you know which ones you want to buy and which ones you would rather avoid. Let's start out with this seedling variety. That's this guy right here. And this, when I say seedling variety, this is a mango that grew from seed. Some previous owner of this property, probably 25, 30 years ago, planted a tree in my yard, and they never grafted it. They just let it grow from seed. And it gives out these little, what I like to call wild mangoes. They're not any named variety. They're just like a wild mango. And I've already got one cut open here, and you can see the flesh is somewhere between yellow and the deep orange. See, mango flesh is usually going to be somewhere between like a light yellow, like this Valencia Pride, or a deep orange, like this Hayden. And as you can see, this guy's kind of in between the two tones. Now, I happen to know what these taste like because they grow in my yard. And I surprise people with them all the time. Now, these are a wild mango. They actually have like a weird texture to them. They're kind of like bendy and floppy and rubbery. And when you bite into one, you get hit with a mango flavor, but they're a little bit on the sour side. Actually, they're quite a bit on the sour side. They're a little bit citrusy and acidy. And after you've chewed on it for a little bit, you even get a little bit of a spicy kick, almost a peppery flavor. These seedlings, these wild mangoes, they're not like a very mango-y flavor, a classic mango flavor. They're a little bit on the sour side, and that's why it's a seedling variety. That's why it doesn't have a name. This would never survive in the marketplace. Good, not great. If you grow it in your backyard and you like something a little tart, yeah, it's okay, but this is not something that would ever make it to a grocery shelf. This is not something that a restaurant would ever buy and serve. This is not something that I would ever sell to a customer. But an interesting flavor nonetheless. Fortunately for us mango lovers, every now and then, maybe 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, something like that, every now and then a seed-grown mango tree gives us a treasure, gives us a delight. And that happens to be the case for the rest of these 7 varieties you see here before you. Let's take this Carrie variety, for example. So here's what a Carrie looks like. Now, a Carrie, C-A-R-R-I-E, that is an early season mango. We could start picking these toward the end of May into early June. These things ripen quickly on the tree. We got to pick them and get them off to market, or if you have a Carrie in your backyard, you got to start picking these 2nd, 3rd week of May and start eating them, or else the squirrels are going to get them. And they're a beautiful mango. They stay green. They get a little bit yellow when they start to ripen. And they've got a very nice, bright flesh on the inside. And the Carrie is a sought-after mango. And I think it's sought after for 2 reasons. I think number one, it's the first truly tasty mango that hits the market every season. But it also has a delicious flavor. So I'm gonna just cut myself. Oh my God, I can feel the knife going through this Carrie. Feels different than going through this seedling variety. If you haven't caught it, this seedling variety, it's kind of a garbage variety. And in fact, that tree I have in my backyard, I'm going to stump it and I'm going to graft it with another variety. I just haven't decided what variety yet, but I'm going to stop growing these wild mangoes. But just cutting into this Carrie, and I know I'm going to feel it in my teeth too, I can already feel the nice flesh, the nice firmness of the flesh, and there's juice coming out of it. There was no juice coming out of that seedling, that wild variety. I'm already getting juice dripping down my fingers here. Oh my God. Oh. Wow. 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 That is so good. And I only have one Carrie left, and I'm saving this for my wife. I get a little bit of a pineapple-y kind of flavor, but a sweet, sweet mango. Even a little hint of like a coconut flavor in there. Wow, is the Carrie good. The next variety I'm going to sample is called a Glen. And here's what a Glen looks like on the tree. They're kind of dull green with a little bit of reddish pink or purple on top. But as they start to ripen, they kind of light up and they take on this sort of peach color. And the skin starts to yellow and it goes from like, you know, darker, like from the greens to more vibrant shades of yellow. Look at how deep and orange over here, the flesh on that Glen. It almost looks like an egg yolk. That's one of the things I love about the Glen is just its color, how colorful it is on the inside. The other thing I love about a Glen, and she's not here with us right now because she had to go to work, is it's my wife's favorite variety.
This is so good, dude.
Let me take a bite of this Glen. Oh, wow. It smells so fruity, so tropical. The flesh. Wow. Wow, is that good. And it's very different than the Carrie. The Carrie had an absolutely delicious flavor, as does the Glen, but they're not similar. This Glen, I think, would have a much more traditional mango flavor to it. It's got like a honey taste to it. The flesh is a little more mushy. It's a little easier to get your teeth through it. It's not as fibrous. Now, there's no fiber in a Carrie. I'm not saying nothing gets stuck in your teeth or nothing, but you can sort of feel the crunch of the Carrie a little more like, say, like a watermelon. You know, when you crunch through that, I don't know what you'd call that, the flesh in the watermelon, where this is a little bit more smooth. But wow, I'm going to finish this whole spear. Sorry to eat in front of you guys. Oh. Oh, look at there. Look at the little, what are those things called? The little guinea hens running around. Yes, a guinea hen, I'm hungry. Now for me, the Valencia, it's one of my favorites. And it's one of my favorites for two reasons. First, I have very fond memories of eating Valencia Pride before I was a tropical fruit farmer. I used to live up in downtown, not in downtown Miami, but up in Miami, up in the city. We used to come down here to Homestead every chance we got. And there's a famous fruit stand down here called Robert is Here. I knew a mango is supposed to look like this, but I had no idea a mango could look like that. And I bought a few of these, and the owner of Robert is Here, Robert himself. I asked him, I said, what is this? He said, it's a Valencia Pride, and let me teach you how to cut it open. And Robert himself taught me the way they at Robert is Here open up their mangoes. And he opened me a mango and showed me how to do it. And I took a bite of that Valencia Pride. And I've loved it ever since. And I get such nostalgia back to those days when my wife and I used to come down here before we moved here. Now, while I cut into it, I'll tell you the second reason I love the Valencia is because as a grower, the tree goes really fast, the tree grows really tall, and the tree gives a ton of fruit. And that fruit really starts to hit its stride like later, like mid-season, like late June into July. Now, I'm a little early for this one, but I had a branch fall down. My tree over there gave me so much fruit, the branch actually cracked, and I had about a dozen of them fall off. So I took them in the house, crossed my fingers in the hopes that they would ripen. I took a bite this morning out of one, and they ripened. So if you look at it, look at the difference. So you got the Carrie, which gives you like a little spear like this, right? Look at the size of the spear you get off of Valencia Pride. And to contrast the color, if you remember, I told you the Glen was that deep, deep orange. Look at this more pale yellow you get off the Valencia. And as that pale yellow would suggest, it does have a little bit of a more tangy flavor, which is why I love it. So here we go. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. To me, this is heaven. This is pure bliss. I love the Valencia. And frankly, I'm surprised because we're about 2 to 3 weeks early. And actually, most of them will be bigger than this when they're mature. But like I said, that branch fell down. And I'm just taking a bite of this now, and it is so good. Now like the Carrie, there's a little bit of a tartness, but a slight bit of tartness. Where in the Carrie, there's a noteworthy amount of tartness to it. The Valencia also has a little bit of tartness, but it just carries that classic tropical mango flavor. And if you live somewhere mangoes grow, if you're in zone 9B or above, USDA hardiness zone 9B or above, where mangoes grow, I recommend the Valencia Pride. Like I say, the tree grows really strong and fast and large, and the crop is really good, and the quality of the fruit is huge. But now let's move on from the Valencia Pride to its parent fruit, to the source that gave the seed that grew us the Valencia Pride, which is the Hayden. And to me, the Hayden is just a typical Florida mango. It's a typical tropical fruit. I mean, look at how beautiful that guy is. Look at those colors. I left some of the mango sap on there, so it's kind of like nice and shiny. But look, we've got like dark red into like orange, into gradually going to yellow, into some more orange, down into green and yellow. And we got this beautiful peach. There's even a little bit of like blue. The green starts to get so dark, it even looks a little bluish. And when you cut into it, you could see it's kind of in the middle, right? It's not as deep orange as the Glen, but it's also not as yellow as the Valencia Pride. It's not even as yellow as the Carrie. I think it's my favorite mango. It's hard for me to say because as soon as I take a bite of the Carrie, I'll tell you the Carrie's my favorite. I take a bite of the Glen, I'll tell you the Glen's my favorite. You just heard what I had to say about the Valencia Pride. But I love the Hayden, because again, the Hayden reminds me of my early days in South Florida, going to Roberta's here. The Hayden is very much like a commercial staple. There's a lot of these grown. Again, if you're going to grow a backyard mango, I recommend the Hayden. The trees go strong. The fruit's delicious. It's nice, thick. It's nice and thick. The trees are productive. And I just ate a lot of Hayden mango when I first got here. And isn't that the reason a lot of us come up with our favorite food? Because it just reminds us of good times in our life. And biting into a Hayden just reminds me of when I was 25 years younger and my wife and I were just getting started, getting our life going. And we'd be sitting on the floor eating guacamole and eating mangoes. And well, enough about that. Let me take a bite of this Hayden mango. Oh. Now, yeah, it's dripping down my beard. I'm sorry, I'm going to make a mess out of myself. Wow. The Haydens are so juicy, and there's this little bit of an aftertaste that's just so good. I'm gonna have to eat 2 spears of these while I'm talking to you all. To me, that's just classic mango. Like if someone said to you, what does a mango taste like? What is mango? You know, I've described some of these as tart, a little bit like pineapple, a little bit peppery, even a little touch of like coconut. This is just straight up mango, and it's delicious. But now I'm going to move on to the Sleepy Lizard house variety. Now I just showed you a seedling variety that was here when I moved in, and it's not very tasty. Fortunately, there was another tree grown from seed on the property that gives insanely delicious mangoes. Now let me tell you how good the Sleepy Lizard variety mango is. My mango picking crew, my pickers, my guys that spend the day out at groves picking mangoes, they call me up and they're like, Tom, can I run by and pick up a few of yours from that tree to bring home for my wife? She loves them. Can I take a few of these home for me? I love them. And of course I let them. Of course they come. These are guys that have maybe picked 5,000, 6,000, maybe even 12,000 pounds of mango that day. They're covered in mango sap. The last thing they want to do is see a mango. They will stop at my farm and pick a few of these to take home and eat. And if you tried one, you would know why. They are so delicious. And just to be sure it's a unique variety, we've had more than one person come by from the Fruit and Spice Park to look it over and taste it, and it's not like anything they've ever seen anywhere. And we even had one of the workers from the University of Florida, the TREC, T-R-E-C, Tropical Research. I don't know what it stands for, but it's like smart people who know about tropical fruit. We had even a guy come by from there and take a look at the tree and take a look at the fruit, and he's like, yeah, you got a unique fruit there. And here's what it looks like when it's on the tree. It's kind of a dull green, little bit of pink. You can see they grow kind of big. Actually, they grow very big. These are like 2-pounders. And my wife and I get very excited when these things start to pop out. And we might leave the house in the morning, and they all kind of look like this. By the time we drive back in the afternoon, there'll be 5 or 6 that have lit up. Like someone just walked out to that tree and flipped a switch, and all of a sudden, bing, these fruit have lit up. And that means we gotta run and get the picking basket because it's a race against the squirrels. So comparing to the Carrie, which is on the light side, it's a little bit darker. Comparing to the Glen, which is on the dark side, it's a little bit lighter. It's right about in the middle, this variety. And when people look at it, they actually think it might be a Hayden, but they're a lot bigger than a Hayden. They are also flatter, so they're wider, like in one direction. They have this like sort of kidney shape, and from this direction they're a little more narrow, where a Hayden tends to be a little more round. It's not perfectly round, or not even as round as an apple, but it's a lot more symmetrical. These are asymmetrical, but when they light up, they could resemble a Hayden. There's no fiber, and you get so much meat on the spear, and so juicy. Oh. This, there's juice dripping down my, I actually feel like I just took a sip of like a mango juice or something like that. Oh, this is so good. Well, I guess I did, right? I took a bite and mango juice dripped down my throat. It smells so fruity, so tropical. The thing that really stands out about this mango, this house variety or sleepy lizard variety, is it's got a dryness to it. By that I mean, I've never drank a glass of wine, but I've heard people describe wines as like dry. While this is extremely juicy, right? I mean, look, I'll bite into it, you'll see juice drip down my chin. Wow, this is an extremely juicy piece of fruit. There's like a dryness in your mouth. There's almost like a powderiness that comes with it, and it is so good. And that's one of the things, one of the supervisors of a picking crew who comes by and takes these, he loves that little, there's just a little, like a little powderiness to it that just makes it so, so good. Ah. Now, some of these I grow here at Sleepy Lizard Avocado Farm. Others I grow at a farm that I lease. And some I don't grow at all. I've bought them or my friends gave them to me, but I did want to share these varieties with you. Of course, we grow the Sleepy Lizard house variety here at Sleepy Lizard. We grow Valencia Pride. I have 2 Glen trees, but I don't sell the Glens. These are for my wife. She'd kill me. I do have a couple of Hayden trees. I got one, maybe 2, I got 2 Nam Duck Mai, but again, they're small. I haven't started selling them. And then the Kits and the Zills and the rest of the Haydens I get at the grove that I lease. And for me, mangoes started out just as a hobby. It just started out as me planting some mangoes to augment the ones that were already here when we moved in, just so my wife and my son would have something to eat. And I loved them, and I started planting more, and then people started asking if they could buy them. And so in addition to my avocados, I started selling mangoes. And if you're someone who would like to try these delicious mangoes, go to guacfarm.com, guacfarm.com. Mangoes are seasonal, right? And like I said, these Carries kind of come and go quick, late May into early June. The Haydens kind of start into June. The Valencias I'll have into July. These Sleepy Lizard, again, these are like a late May, early June that go real quick. The Nam Ducks will come in July. And that big one I showed you at the very beginning of the video, I said that they grow to 5 pounds. I showed you 2 of them. I don't harvest those until September. But again, those I don't sell because I only have 1 tree. I just grow a handful for us to eat. But if you wanted to try those, or you think you might want to eat some of the avocados in the grove behind me here, or you see, for those of you that are in the know, you'll see these Monstera deliciosa leaves. I also sell the Monstera deliciosa plant, as well as the hats and the t-shirts. You could get those at guacfarm.com. Now, as you can see, I got a lot of mango to eat. So I'm going to enjoy myself for the next half hour. While I do that, you go to guacfarm.com, and I will see you on the next video.